Hi, folks. Does God still do miracles? And the simple answer is yes, He does. I know for a lot of individuals, there's a lot of questions about, why this didn't happen or why that happened and so on. But the simple answer is this, clearly from the Bible: God does do miracles, and He does them today. I want to share with you something from years ago that I learned. I don't have all the answers, but I've learned that may be a help to you wherever you are in the situation concerning God's healing. Hi, my name is Gene Witt. I'm a retired pastor. I'm an artist. Started an art business a little over a year ago, and moving in that direction, and as well as just now starting a YouTube channel. But many years ago, uh, back oh gosh, well before the 1990s, actually. Uh, I was invited, my wife and I were invited over to a pastor's house, and he invited us over for a meal. We sat down and ate, and afterwards we sat down and talked, and he says, I want to share with you something that I think someday may be a help to you. And he said, just want you to know I've been struggling with cancer he said, for at least the last 10 years or so. And he said, I've had multiple surgeries in the process of that. It keeps coming back and they keep doing surgeries. And he said, I want to share with you something that God taught me and something that I did in obedience to the Lord. He said, once I realized that I had cancer, he said, I just spent some time alone with the Lord. And I simply said, Lord, if I die, I'm with you. But if I live, if you heal me and I live, he said, I'm going to serve you with all my heart. So he just said, I just placed my life into your hands. And he kind of ended with that, and so years later, actually 10 years later, I'm in a doctor's office and actually in Oklahoma, and I'm just sitting there, and the doctor reads the report that I have cancer and I have melanoma, which is a very rapid progressing cancer, and uh, and he said we're gonna do surgery immediately. So we went in, we did a surgery, and and they scheduled me shortly after that for another surgery, a much more intensive surgery. And so I went to the doctor. In fact, let me back up just a little bit. Let me back up to the day that I got the report that I had cancer, because this is very important to the story. On the day I got the message, we went home that afternoon and basically in total disbelief. I honestly don't know what my wife did much of the day, but that afternoon I just sat in the recliner. I just sat by myself, and I'm sure she was somewhere else in the house, maybe the den, praying. I was in the living room area, and I sat there and I prayed, and I actually prayed through the night. I didn't even go to bed that night, but sometime in the wee hours of the morning, as I was praying, I just felt God remind me of what that pastor had told me years earlier. And I said, Lord, if I die, I'm with you. And if I live, I'll spend my life serving you. And I just surrender my body to you for healing or whatever. And I just put it in your hands. Now, I went to the doctor for the second surgery, and he came in and he says, I want to be honest with you. We are going to cancel your surgery. He said, I honestly believe that you can go home, and I don't think you'll have any more problems with melanoma. That was 2002. This is 2026. I've had no more problems with cancer. God's a healing God. Nothing is impossible with him. There's a lot of things I don't understand about cancer. This one thing I do understand is that there was a young man that was actually, my son was in high school, and a friend of his dad was diagnosed with the same thing that I was diagnosed with. And 6 months after both of us were diagnosed, I preached his funeral. I preached his funeral, and I was healed. And the only thing I can contribute to is just saying, God, I'm yours. I place my body in your hands. There's a verse of scripture in the book of Romans that says, I urge you, therefore, brethren, it's verse 1 of chapter 12. I urge you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto the Lord. By presenting our body to him as a living sacrifice, we put ourselves into a position to where he can do mighty things in our lives. And he is a healing God. If we trust him and let him have his way, hey, when he's not finished with you, you're going to still be here 20, 30 years, long after a very negative process. Now, I do know there's scriptures in the body that says, by his stripes, we are healed. That simply means that there is healing available. There is healing if we'll just put him Lord of our lives. I think that surrender is so very, very important. I know it was for me, and it may be for you. Just present your body. Say, hey, Lord, this is my body. It has this particular health issue with it, and I just place it in your hands. And I know that with you, there's absolutely nothing impossible. I know that you're so loving that you're going to do for me what is absolutely the best. And so I'm going to trust you for healing, or I'm going to trust you that I'm going to be with you soon. Either way is a wonderful, wonderful process, because you know what? When you step into heaven and you find yourself in his presence, that's going to be more wonderful than anything you could possibly imagine. About 14 months ago, and I'll share this real quick as I come to the end, my wife was suddenly had a heart attack. We didn't know she had any heart problems at all. She had a heart attack, massive heart attack. Her body did not recover. In fact, over about a 4 or 5 day period, her body just continued to just shut down, and to the point to where she went into glory. And the moment that they had her on life support, and basically it was time, and that his family had made a decision, or I'd made a decision after prayer to disconnect her. As the family was around her praying, as knowing that she's either getting ready to go into heaven, or maybe she's already made that transition. We just prayed, and I opened my eyes, and I kind of watched the monitor as her breathing stopped, and all the indicators just came to an end. And at that very moment, I saw a vision, and I haven't seen very many things like that in my life, but I saw this, and it was simply for a brief second, as I looked up, I saw her running, dancing, and just with tremendous excitement in her face. And she looked just like she did when she was about 30 years old. And she was running in a beautiful dress. And I saw people in the background. And God gave me peace in my moment of grief that she was enjoying the wonders of heaven. Let me tell you something, Chris. You can't lose out. When you put your body in God's hands and you let him have control over your body, let me tell you, one way or another, it's going to be a wonderful victory. You're either going to be sharing with others how wonderful God is and how much he loved you and his healing power and how he intervened in your life, or you're going to be in heaven rejoicing with the angels and with other saints and your loved ones, and you're going to be rejoicing before the throne of God. You're going to see Jesus, and it's going to be far beyond anything that could possibly be experienced here on earth. You can't lose. Everything has been rigged in your direction so whatever you're facing in life, whatever it's a problem that may not have to do with health or with health itself, you're rigged in such a way that you cannot possibly lose. So here's my suggestion to you. Just let go. Just let go and say, Lord, I'm in your hands. I belong to you. I know you have the power of healing, and I'm just going to trust you for healing. But if that's not the case, then I'm going to be with you. But if you keep me here, I have surrendered my life to you. I am going to worship you with this body, and I'm going to give it to you and let you use it during the time that you allow me to stay here to bring honor to your name. Thanks for watching. I hope each of you have a great day. Bye-bye.